Hi everyone. So as promised, I'm going to start making some yoga videos specifically targeting um, the body for improvement in certain areas of sport. So today's video is for horse riding, because I know a lot of you ride horses. I used to ride horses. Unfortunately, I don't do it anymore. I do when I can, but I used to ride horses quite a lot. And when we are riding a horse, we use very specific muscle groups, and particularly in our lower body. And because, especially if you're using stirrups, so obviously it depends on what kind of horse riding you're doing. If you're a show jumper, then obviously your stirrups are shorter. Dressage, they're longer. If you're a bareback rider, you don't use them at all. And then if you're working without stirrups, it'll also change the muscle groups that you use in your leg. So we'll be targeting muscles that will hopefully improve all of those areas, but specifically going to be working a lot on the hip flexors, hamstrings, and the opening up of our hips. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Again, there are so many different things that we can work on to improve horse riding. This will be a general overall. So just find a nice, comfortable seated position. Make sure that you're nicely grounded, that your seat bones are pressing into your mat. So if you like, you can just gently lift your bum, butt cheeks, and really allow your bum to move down into your mat. Place your hands on your knees and just come to your breath. So gently close your eyes. Take deep inhales through the nose and long exhales through the nose. Remember, in yoga, when we breathe, we always breathe through the nose. Inhale to fill all of your lungs. Using your diaphragm, feel your diaphragm pushing your organs down into your stomach. And exhale. Feel your lungs empty. Feel the tension that's in your body move out with that air. And sense the connection between your mind and your body deepening. Tilt your head forward down to the ground and gently blink your eyes open. We're going to just stretch out our sides a little bit. So place your hands on either side of the mat. Inhale, raise the left arm, and exhale, fold to the right, stretching out your left side. If you want to here, you can keep your arms straight to support, or you can come down onto your forearm. Find that space that is good for you, but make sure your left hip stays nice and firm on the mat. Pull with your left hand and feel that stretch increase as you inhale and stretch your rib cage, filling your lungs, and exhale, feel that space you've created for your body relax. Inhale, come up to center. Exhale, bring your arm down. Inhale, raise the right arm, and exhale, bend to the left. Right arm nice and strong. Right shoulder moving towards the back. You want your right shoulder to be stacked directly on top of your left. Right seat bone still firmly grounded into the mat. And take a deep inhale and long exhale. Inhale, come back up to center. Inhale, raise both arms up to the sky. Reach up. Look up between your hands if you feel comfortable. Feel your back lengthening, pulling up towards the sky, and feel your shoulder blades gently moving down your spine. Exhale, bring both hands to either side. Roll onto your hands and knees and come into tabletop. We're going to do a nice little warm-up. First, we're going to move into cat and cow. So inhale, roll yourself forward. Your head leads, your shoulders move down towards your spine. Your coccyx moves up towards the sky. Exhale, tuck your tailbone under. Start with your hips and allow your spine to follow, and push your back up towards the sky. Suck your tummy in and pull it up towards your spine. Inhale, come forward for cow. Shoulder blades move down your spine. Exhale, roll your belly under. Pull your belly button towards your spine. Lift your back up. And inhale, come forward for cow. Exhale, roll back for cat. Inhale, roll forward for cow. And exhale, roll back for cat. Exhale, come back into a neutral spine. So neutral spine, you're not swaying your back. You've still got your core nice and engaged. You've got a nice long flat back. Bring your toes together. Take your knees slightly apart and exhale, bring your bum down towards your toes. Keep your arms nice and long in front of you and engage your fingers. So push your fingertips into the mat. Lift your arms off the mat. Your bum is still pulling down towards your heels. Your forehead is resting gently on the mat. And just very gently, left arm first and then your right. Walk your fingertips further forward and feel your shoulder muscles stretching. Feel your spine being pulled longer. So don't pull it far enough that your bum lifts. You want to keep your bum down. And at the same time, still gently try and create that space between your ears and your shoulders. Exhale, release the tension in your hands. And inhale, gently walk your hands towards you, rolling your spine up one vertebra at a time to come and sit on your shins. Bring your knees together. Now we're going to move into a nice little foot stretch. So inhale, come up onto your knees, tuck your toes under, and exhale, sit back on your heels. This can be quite intense. We're engaging all the meridian lines in our feet, but if your ankles and your feet are not flexible, it can be quite intense. So if it's too intense, come back up onto your knees, and then just come back down when you're ready. Try pulling your heels towards the back and tucking your toes so they're directly under your heels. We're going to inhale to raise the right arm, exhale, bring our right arm behind us, and then try and grab our right hand with our left arm. It's important here that we don't push our chest forward and go sway back. So tuck your tummy in, bring your spine back, keep a nice long spine. Pull with your two hands to stretch your tricep and look straight ahead, nice neutral spine. Exhale to release and come up onto your knees if you feel uncomfortable, or come straight into the other side. Left hand behind your back, right hand grabs the left hand. You will have one side tighter than the other depending on which side you're on it. Make sure you bring your stomach back in and your back is nice and long and straight. Pull with your hands, look straight ahead. And exhale to release. Inhale, lift yourself up onto your knees, untuck your toes, and exhale, come back down, stretch out the front of your feet. We're going to work the hips, so inhale, lift with your hips, come forward, raise your arms up, have a little back bend here. Inhale to come back up and exhale to come back down. Inhale, lift with your hips. Exhale for a little back bend. Open your chest up and perhaps bring your arms down into a cactus position. Inhale, come back up and exhale to sit back down. Inhale again, lift yourself up. Open your chest up, little back bend. And inhale and exhale, come back down. Bring your hands back to where they were in tabletop. Place your hands one handprint in front of where they are if they're directly under your shoulders. Tuck your toes under and inhale, lift your hips up. Keep your knees bent and push your tummy towards your thighs. Then one by one start to straighten your legs, stretching out the hamstrings. Make sure you have a nice, long, straight line between your wrists, your shoulders, and your hips. Inhale to come up onto the toes, straighten your legs, lift your hips up towards the sky. And exhale, bring your heels down towards the mat. Create space in your upper back, move your shoulder blades away from each other. Inhale to look up and exhale, step your feet between your hands. Come up into a forward fold. Inhale, come into a half fold. Exhale, release your spine, and then on the inhale, gently roll yourself back up into Samasthiti. We're going to do a few sun salutations. They are modified, so they're not the traditional vinyasa, so the traditional Surya Namaskaras that we find in vinyasa. So just follow me. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale for a half fold. We're going to do a nice gentle one to start with. Exhale, bring the hands down. Step back into your plank pose. Make sure your hands and fingers are firmly pressed into the mat. Bring your knees down to the mat and exhale for a chaturanga. Push your toes into the mat and inhale for a baby cobra. Tuck your toes under, lift yourself up, and using your stomach muscles, bring yourself back into downward facing dog. So when we're moving into downward facing dog, we always use our core to lift us into the posture. Remember to breathe in and out through your nose. Inhale, lift your head up, and exhale, step or hop your feet towards the front of the mat. Inhale for a half fold. Exhale to release, and inhale to roll yourself back up into Samasthiti. And again, we'll do another one. Inhale, modified version. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale for a half fold. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. And step or hop back, come down into your chaturanga, and inhale for your upward facing dog. Exhale for your downward facing dog. Now here, inhale, raise the right foot and bring your right foot forward between your hands. Keep on your back toes, and inhale, come up into a high lunge. So we're not doing warrior one, we're doing a high lunge this time. And start to feel your hip flexors stretching out. Pull backwards with your left heel, like you want to push your left heel into the mat to keep your leg nice and straight. Pull your left hip forwards and your right hip back. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. Step back, take a vinyasa, chaturanga, upward and downward facing dog. Raise the left foot, bring your left foot between your hands and come up into your high lunge. Again, adjust yourself if you need to. Make sure your front knee stays over your ankle and sink your hips down. Keep your tailbone tucked under, so don't let your stomach move forward. Pull your stomach in, push your tailbone under. Arms are nice and long, shoulders are moving down. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. Step back for a plank, chaturanga, and upward and downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Check your alignment. Inhale to look up and exhale to step or hop your feet to the front of the mat. Straighten your legs. Inhale for a half fold. Exhale, release, and then inhale, roll yourself up to the sky. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half fold. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or hop back. Chaturanga. Upward and downward facing dog. Raise the right foot. Exhale, right foot forward, and inhale for your high lunge. Sink yourself a little bit lower. Stretch out that hip flexor. Exhale, come down. Right foot comes back, plank, chaturanga, upward and downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot comes up. Exhale, right foot moves forward. Come into your high lunge on an inhale. Exhale, bring your hands down, left foot steps back. Take the vinyasa, upward, keep your knees off the mat, and exhale, downward facing dog. A few breaths here. If your heels touch the mat, lift your toes up to increase the stretch, and push your bum up towards the sky. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step or hop forward. Inhale for a half fold. And exhale to roll yourself back up. Bring your hands down, Samasthiti. We're going to do our first flow. So inhale, raise the arms, raise the knee. And then bring them down, grab your knee and pull your knee in towards you. Bring your knee to you as close as you can. Drop your knee. And with your right hand on the inside of your knee, your left arm opens. Open your knee up to the side. Exhale to come forward. Swap your hands around, left hand on the outside of your right knee. And open up to the right. So left knee stays forward and you twist to the right, looking at your right hand. Exhale to come forward. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then exhale, come down into a one-legged chair pose. Feel the stretch on your outer hip and flex your right foot to protect your knee. Sink yourself down as low as you can And then straighten your leg. Exhale, bring your hands down. Uncross your right leg and lift it up into a standing split before bringing your right foot back down. And again, coming into your high lunge. Exhale, bring your right hand down to the mat. Inhale, open up with your left hand for a reverse extended side angle. Little twist, and again, feel the stretch here on your outer left hip. If you don't feel it, sink your hips lower. Look at your left hand if you can. Exhale, bring your right hand back down and step your left foot back into a three-legged dog. Bend your left knee and open up to the left, opening your hips. So what you're doing here is your right foot is moving behind you and your left hip is rotating towards the back. Look under your left shoulder. Exhale, come forward, bring your right foot down. Downward facing dog. Inhale. And on your exhale, step or hop your feet between your hands. Inhale for a half fold. Exhale, release, and inhale to roll yourself back up. Arms reaching towards the sky, Samasthiti. So what we're doing here is we're really trying to open up the outside, the inside of our hips, so that as we're sitting on the horse, it's easier for our hips to open so that we can get our legs around the horse, so that we can really use our legs to create that impulsion when we're riding. So we're going to do the other side. Inhale, raise the arms up, lift the left foot, grab your left knee, and hug it in towards you. So your foot can be flexed or it can be relaxed here, it's up to you. Exhale, release. Take your left hand on your left knee, open up your right arm, and then open up your left knee. Again, stretching your inner muscles on your right thigh. Keep your back nice and long, keep your tailbone tucked under. Exhale, bring it forward, swap your hands, right hand moves to the outside of your left knee, open up your left arm, knee stays facing forward, and twist to the side, looking back at your left hand. Exhale, bring your hand back forward, place your left ankle over your right knee, and inhale, exhale, sit back down into a one-legged chair. Flex your left foot, bring your bum down as low as you can, feel the stretch in your outer thigh, maybe you feel it on the inside as well. Listen to what your body's telling you and stop when it tells you to stop. Inhale here and exhale, sink a little lower. Exhale, bend forward, uncross your left leg and lift it up into a standing straight split. Lift it up as high as you can. And then exhale, bring it down behind you. Inhale, lift yourself up into a high lunge. Feel how your hip flexor is already a bit looser, a bit warmer. You should be able to sink a little lower. Pull your left heel back. Exhale. Bring your hands down to the mat and step your right foot back into three-legged dog. Bend the right knee and open up to the right. Allow your right hip to move back. And then exhale. Bring your right foot down. Oh, I missed side angle. Inhale, bring your right foot up. Sorry about that. Bring your right foot forward. Left hand stays on the mat and inhale, open up to the side, to your right. Again, feel the stretch on your outer right thigh. Look up at your right hand if you can. Exhale. Bring your hand back down. Step forward to the front of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale for a half fold. Exhale, release your spine and inhale, roll yourself back up. Samasthiti. So come back to the top of your mat. Maybe take a drink if you need it. We'll move into our second flow. So inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale for a half fold. And exhale, hop back into your plank pose. We're going to take a Chaturanga Vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing, and exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment here. Really let your heels sink down towards the mat. Inhale, raise the right leg. Exhale, bring your right leg forward. And then bring your left knee down to the mat. Untuck your left toes. And inhale, come up into your high lunge. Right knee stays over right ankle. Adjust your feet if you need to. Keep your core nice and tight and sink your hips down. Again, a more intense hip stretch, hip flexor stretch. Exhale, bring your hands down, straighten your front leg, toes pointing up to the sky. Keep your bum over your knees as much as possible and keep your left hip over your left knee. So right hip is moving back. And if you can, if your arms are long enough, try and keep your back straight as well. So you can use bricks here on either side if you need to lift yourself up. Otherwise, just bring yourself as close as you can. Exhale again, come forward. Walk your right foot towards the outside of your mat, so place it further away from you. Place your right hand on the inside of your thigh and push your right thigh away from you. Again, opening up your hips. You can roll onto the outer side of your right foot. And exhale, bring it back into center. Tuck your left toes under. Inhale, lift your knee. And exhale, come back into three-legged dog. Bring your right foot down. We'll do the other side. So inhale, raise your left foot up. Exhale, bring it forward. Step it between your hands. Right knee comes down to the mat. Untuck your toes. Inhale, come up into your low lunge. Again, with every inhale, visualize the air moving into your stretch and creating that space. And with every exhale, feel your hips sinking just that little bit lower. Keeping your core tight, protecting your organs in your lower back. Exhale, bring your hands down and straighten that front leg, toes pointing up to the sky. Nice straight leg stretch. Keep your right hip over your right knee. Again, create space. Try and move your stomach down to your thigh rather than your head to your knee. We want this stretch to come from our hip. Inhale, come back forward. Place your hands on the mat and walk your foot to the outside of your mat. Place your left hand on your inner left thigh and very gently allow your left hip to open. Roll onto the outside of your left foot and feel that stretch on your inner thighs. Gently allow your hips to sink down towards the mat. Feel your body relaxing into the posture. Inhale, bring your knee back to center. Place your hands on the mat, tuck your toes under, and on an exhale, bring your left foot round behind and up into three-legged dog. Bring your left foot back down to the mat, knees come down to the mat, knees slightly wider than hips, toes together, and come back into child's pose. Again, when we're horse riding, depending on what style you're doing, as much as we try to stay in sync with the movement of our horse, sometimes we do bounce and we lose the rhythm and we can jar our spine. So it's really nice and a good thing to do maybe after each class is to just lie or to sit in child's pose to allow that space between your vertebrae, particularly in your lower back, to grow again. It's a really, really nice gentle posture to help lengthen your spine, and it will help with your posture in the saddle as well. The longer your spine is, the better your posture will be. Inhale to come into tabletop position, so hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and we're going to come into an outer hip stretch. So bring your right knee to your right wrist and turn your right foot towards the outside. Bring your left knee, oh, I've got this wrong. So bring your right knee to the center, Bring your right knee to the center. Your right foot is towards the outside of your mat. Your left knee comes up straight behind your right knee, and your left foot moves towards the right side of your mat, and then sit back down into shoelace. So if you can see from the front here, so my left knee is underneath my right, and my right knee is over the top. So what we want to try and do is we want to try and get the knees in line with each other. If this is too intense for you, keep your bottom leg straight. So keep your left leg straight and just bring your right knee over your left knee with a straight foot. If you do the full version, again, also it depends on how your hips are formed as to how much you can bring your knees one on top of the other, and it also depends on how much muscle you have on your inner thighs. So you may never be able to get one knee on top of the other. That's okay, it's completely normal. The most important thing is that you feel a stretch. Play with the position of your feet. If you bring them closer to your hips, the stretch will change. If you bring them further forward, again, the stretch will change. It's also a nice thing to pull your toes back to very gently engage the soles of your feet. It helps with your knees. We're going to sit up nice and tall, and you can place your hands on your feet if it feels gives you a better grounding. And what I want you to do now is to really to feel yourself internally, to think about your hips, to feel which side is more grounded than the other. Can you feel your sit bone pushing into the mat? And very gently with every exhale, allow that right hip to move closer and closer to the ground. If you feel comfortable here, if you feel like you're feeling the stretch but you want to go deeper, very gently bring your hands in front of you and walk yourself forward and feel the intensity in your outer right hip. So although when we're horse riding, our legs are always spread because we're trying to wrap our legs around, we still use the muscles in our outer thighs. And if we shorten those muscles, it means that we stick our legs out straight like that and we can't wrap them around. So it's really important that although it's important, we want to open our hips up as much as possible so we can get our legs wider and around, we also need to stretch the outer side so that we can move them around. There's no point opening yourself up if you can't get your legs around. This also, by having really nice, loose and open hips, means that we're protecting our knees, because we do have tendencies to twist our knees into odd positions when we're horse riding, just trying to get the message across to our horse. So we do need to have nice, flexible hips to be able to move in the ways that we need to without damaging our knees. Inhale to gently bring yourself back up, and if you're in the full cross-leg position, we're going to have a little fun. And what I want you to do is I want you to lift yourself up onto your hands and knees and turn to the left. So keep your feet in the same position. We're just going to do a nice around the world. Rotate your feet yourself. Bring your right knee down to the mat. And then your left knee should be on top of your right knee. So if you had one leg straight out in front of you, just simply uncross and recross your legs so that your left knee is now on top of your right knee. You will find that one side will be tighter than the other. That's okay. If you're doing this on your own at home, it's quite nice to sit on your tighter side for a little bit longer than your loose side, just to try and balance them out. So again, start off in a nice, long seated position and just really focus on the sensations that you're feeling, where the intensity is. And then once you've found that intensity, move around the rest of your body to find out if you're feeling a stretch in any other areas. Again, keep a little flexion in your feet to try and protect your knees. If you feel pain and pressure in your knees, come out of this straight away. You should never ever feel pain in your knees. You should never feel pain in your knees. So if it feels like, come straight out of it. But as you're inhaling and exhaling, just concentrate on that sensation of your left seat bone moving down towards the mat and feeling that stretch in your outer left thigh. again, if you want to go a little deeper, gently place your hands in front of you and walk them forward. So the weight of your body is moving gently forward into your thighs and your knee, and you can feel that stretch intensify on your outer thigh. It's always really important, no matter what sport you do, to stretch afterwards. And horse riders in particular, we struggle a lot with very short hamstrings and very tight hip flexors. And this is because our legs, although we all have our ankles directly beneath our bum, so we're nicely in line, our legs are always bent, especially if we're using stirrups. And even if we're not using stirrups, our legs naturally bend just because of the way that we're sitting. So it's super, super important. Just do a forward fold afterwards, and then just also to stretch out your hip flexors, you can just pull your leg behind you and do a standing one-legged thigh stretch. If that's all you have time for, fantastic, but then do try and take the time maybe once a week to do a proper full body stretch. Because tight hamstrings lead to tight calves, which means it makes it much more difficult for you to keep your heels down. And then if you have tight hip flexors, it makes walking in other sports very difficult, and that can lead to hip problems, which can lead to knee problems. Inhale, gently bring yourself up and uncross your knees. So you feel probably a bit of relief there that's quite intense. So what we're going to do now is a little counter posture. So place your hands behind your back and just gently rock your knees from side to side in windshield wiper. You can really twist your body here, releasing your hips. Push yourself from side to side. It's okay to groan, it's perfectly normal, especially in intense stretches. When you're ready, come back to center and bring your legs out straight in front of you on either side for Dandasana. So our legs are straight. If you need to, grab a belt so you can place it around your toes. And what we want to do is we want to do an active stretch. So if you do have tight hip flexors, active stretch, you may find it's too intense for your hip flexors, so use a belt, which means your hip flexors can relax. Because we want our toes to point up to the skies, which is engaging our hips here. So if you have tight hips, point your toes up, but use a belt, which means that these muscles can relax. So toes pointing up to the sky, thighs engaged to lift our kneecaps to protect our knees. We're going to inhale, lengthen our spine, raise our hands up to the sky, shoulders are down, and then exhale, bending at the hips. We're going to keep our back straight, and we're going to come down into a straight leg stretch. If you can, grab the toes and pull them towards you, and this will release the pressure on your hips. If you can't grab your toes, use a belt, and use the belt to pull your toes, the balls of your feet towards you, which then takes the pressure off your hips. So choose the method that works for you, and make sure that your back stays nice and long. So what you want to be doing is your shoulders are gently moving away from your ears, and your lower back, your stomach, is moving towards your thighs. You can play with it here. So on an inhale, you can push your stomach towards your thighs. Your stomach will naturally inflate as well as your diaphragm pushes your organs into your stomach. And your lower back will gently move forward. You can feel the stretch intensify. And then as you exhale, your stomach releases, and you can feel that space that you've just created. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, allow your spine to round and your head to move down towards your knees. So now we're relaxing the back, and we're letting our head fall towards our knees, and feel how the stretch changes, how it moves into different areas of your body. Place your hands on either side, and gently on the inhale, use your hands to roll yourself back up into a seated position. We're going to stretch our inner thighs. So open your legs out as wide as you feel comfortable. So we can only open them out as wide as our muscles will allow us, but then what you can do is you can place your hands behind you Lift your hips up and gently push your hips forward and just get that little bit of extra space between your legs. Come up to a nice seated position. Maybe support yourself with your hands and your arms again. Toes are pointing up to the sky. And then either bring your hand to your right shin, or you can place your forearm on the inside of your right thigh. Depends on how flexible you are. So choose the position that's more comfortable for you. And inhale, lift your left arm up to the sky. And again, doing a side stretch. Exhale, bring yourself down towards your right knee. So we're staying nice and open. We don't want to be folding forward like this. This is not the stretch that we're aiming for. It's a different stretch. What we want to do is lift our left shoulder up and back, up to the sky. You can look at your left hand as well if you feel comfortable. And so even if you're up here, that's okay. As long as you're feeling the stretch, you're doing it right. So the stretch should run all the way down from your baby finger, down your left shoulder, over your left ribs, and down into the top of your left hip. And eventually, day by day, as you do this, you'll be able to come closer and closer to your toes, eventually grabbing your toes. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, bring your hand down, and inhale, raise the left arm, and again, find your space. Don't worry if you're stiffer on this side than the other. Bend down. It's perfectly normal to have one side that is tighter than the other. You just need to spend a little more time on it. Don't forget to bring your right shoulder back. Stack it directly on top of your left. Open yourself up to the sky, to the sun. And then inhale, bring yourself back up to center. Exhale, bring your right hand down. We're going to work on the inner thighs now. So keeping your legs comfortable. We have stretched out a little bit. So if you feel comfortable, if you want to, you can again lift your hips and open them up a little more. It doesn't matter how wide your legs are. The point is that you feel that stretch. Bring your hands in front of you. Make sure your thighs are engaged to lift your kneecaps and protect your knees. And very gently lean forward. Feel that stretch in your groin area. Again, we're engaging our toes. We're engaging our feet. And walk gently forwards until you found your edge. When you find your edge, stop. Don't push it. Get to know your edge. And your edge will move day by day, every time you do this stretch. Take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, relax your toes. Allow your feet to fall forward. So almost like your toes are going to touch the floor in front of you. You're not pushing them, but that's just what they naturally do. And now bring yourself again further forward. Again, doing a stretch like this really depends on how our hips are formed. Our hip bones, the joints are all formed at different angles. So every single person has a slightly different angle of hip joint. And that angle dictates how much you can open your legs, how far you can go into these hip and groin stretches. So don't push it, and don't judge yourself by other people's standards, because your body is unique, genuinely. Which means that whatever you do, whatever stretches and postures you do, you need to design them for your body. Inhale, gently walk your hands back towards you, lifting yourself up. Again, lift your knees up using your hands and gently bring them together. Wow, I can feel that's very intense in the hips there. And again, we're going to rock them from side to side in windshield wiper, just to give our hips some relief, because that was super intense. Inhale when you're ready and come back to center. Knees are bent. We're going to grab the back of our legs and gently, one vertebra at a time, we're going to roll ourselves down onto the mat into a nice position. Open your arms up to either side. Bring your knees together and open your feet out so that they're at the edge of your mat. Exhale, bring your knees to the right and look at your left hand in supine twist. Here again, you have some options. You can stay like this in a nice gentle twist. And if you want to intensify it, you can place your right foot on top of your left knee
deepen that twist. Depends on how you feel. If you don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine. Maybe close your eyes here, preparing yourself and your body for our final resting posture. Inhale to come back up to center. And exhale, bring your knees to the left, looking at your right hand. Keep both shoulders firmly placed on the mat. And allow your body to relax. Check for any tension and release it when you find it. Inhale to come back up to center. Knees are together. And exhale, bring your knees towards your chest and hug your knees towards you, rocking from side to side in a little ball, massaging our lower back. Grab your feet. The soles of your feet are facing the sky, and your knees are gently moving down towards your armpits for happy baby. A nice little last hip opener. If your knees are already at your armpits, allow them to move past your shoulders down towards the ground on either side. Exhale, release your feet, straighten your legs out, opening your feet slightly wider than your hips and allowing the toes to roll to either side. Bring your arms down to the ground, palms facing the sky. Open your mind and your body as we move into our final posture. Come back to your breath. Deep inhales through the nose and long exhales through the nose. With your next inhale, follow the breath as it enters your body and move down through your lungs, down through your torso, to your hips, down to your feet, into your toes, and rest in your toes. Your awareness now senses everything that your toes are feeling, the breeze that moves around them, the heat from the sun, the coolness from the earth beneath them. From your toes, gently begin to move up through your body, scanning it for any tension and feeling the muscles as they relax. If you do find tension, with an exhale, allow those muscles to release. Feel all the points at which your body is in contact with the earth. Feel your body as if it wants to melt into that earth, become one with the earth beneath it. Finally move back into your face. Check your jaw for any tension. Check your forehead for frowning. And move back into your third eye. Allow your awareness to rest here. And follow the breath as it moves in and out through your nose. Cool air moving in and warm air moving out. For Savasana. Inhale to bring your awareness back into your body. Gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe bring your arms behind you. Give yourself one last good stretch. Exhale to bring your hands back down to either side and bend your knees. On your next exhale, roll onto one side, supporting your head with your lower hand. Pause here for a moment. Take a breath. And then on an inhale, gently lift yourself back up, slowly, calmly, into a comfortable seated position. Find your space. Ground yourself, seat bones pressing into your mat. Hands are placed on your knees. Back is nice and long. Deep inhales and long exhales. Take one last deep inhale through the nose. And when you exhale, exhale through the mouth, forcing out all the air and all the tension left in you. Bring your hands together to your heart center. Bring your hands to your forehead and bow down to the ground in front of you. Thanking yourself for taking the time out of your day to spend some time with your body to listen to its needs. Inhale, lift yourself back up. Exhale, gently blink your eyes open. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this video. And stay tuned for my next one. I'm going to do running next. So for all of you who ride horses, I hope this helps. And just think about stretching as much as you can.